Om Shanti. This is the Sakar Murli of the 14th of July 2022. Essence. Sweet children, break away from everyone else and have yoga with me alone, your Father, and you will come to my land, and your final thoughts will lead you to your destination. Question: what would those who make effort to stay in the stage of silence not like? Answer: they would not even like the sound of a clock, because there is no sound in your original world, brackets the incorporeal world. This is why you make effort to go beyond sound. You have to become bodiless and stabilize in your original religion. Together with remembering Baba, you have to remember Baba's land. Song. Listen to the complaint of the devotees. Om Shanti. God speaks. This is the Yoga Ashram, and you are sitting here to accumulate yoga. The Supreme Soul is speaking to you souls through these organs. In remembrance of whom are you souls now sitting? The soul says, I am a soul and you are the same. All of us souls are sitting in remembrance of that Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul. Who taught this yoga? God speaks. I am the Father of all souls. I have become the teacher in order to teach you yoga through this body. This is explained easily. It is said that when there is extreme defamation of religion, it is then that I come. These are the same versions of the previous cycle and are being repeated through a very ordinary body. It is said, these versions were spoken in the previous cycle too, and the Gita is written from these. So, when there is defamation of religion, and when many other religions are also present, and the name and trace of the deity religion has completely disappeared, those of the deity religion begin to call themselves Hindus. Although they worship the deities, they call themselves Hindus. It is as though the deity religion is replaced by the Hindu religion. This is known as defamation of religion. When the name and trace of that one deity religion disappears, many other religions, sects and cults emerge and replace it. This is the same Gita of the previous cycle that is being repeated. No one else can speak these versions of God. That same one comes again and repeats these same elevated versions of the Gita. These elevated versions are not mentioned in any other scripture. God's versions are mentioned in the Gita. God himself explains. He says, when there are many religions and it is the end of the Iron Age, I come at the confluence of the cycles, because the Iron Age is said to be Tamo-Pradhan, and the Golden Age is said to be Sato-Pradhan. There it is the kingdom of gods and goddesses, that is, it is the kingdom ruled by deities. That too is on this stage. Vaikuntha (paradise) is not another place somewhere else. There was the kingdom of deities in this same Bharat, and it has now disappeared. It is said of the Supreme Soul, God is knowledgeful. He alone is the ocean of knowledge, the ocean of bliss, and the ocean of happiness. No one apart from him has this godly knowledge. So how can anyone else be called knowledgeable? He says, I have to come here to give this knowledge. Until he himself comes and gives this knowledge, no one can become knowledgeful. This godly knowledge is called the philosophy through which souls are purified. Now the question arises, why have you come here? You have come here once again exactly as you did a cycle ago to receive godly knowledge from God in order to be purified. In order to receive this knowledge, you will have to join this godly school. No one else can give this godly knowledge. They say that all of us have godly knowledge in us. Which knowledge is that? They say that God is omnipresent, but God says, that is false knowledge. I am not omnipresent. Whatever I am, however I am revealed in front of you children. No one can know me, nor can anyone attain me until I come and speak my knowledge to you. This is why I have to come, and I come at the confluence of the cycles. That is all. When I come, there are many doctors of philosophy, holy men, and great souls who give their knowledge. They all give knowledge, saying that they are God. On the one side, they say that God is one, and on the other side, there are so many opinions of theirs. So whom should you believe? God has not given them directions, has He? On the one side, there is the one direction from God, and on the other side, there are so many directions, and this is when God says, I have to come and finish all the many directions there are, and establish the one direction. This program is eternally fixed for me every cycle. Other kings have a program of perhaps 8 to 10 days, but God's program is of the Gita and eternally fixed for cycle after cycle. He comes in an incognito way into the form of Brahma, in the body of Brahma, and says, I establish that same land of Krishna where the holy gods and goddesses, king, queen and subjects live. He establishes that, and then he, Brahma, takes birth there in the form of Krishna. He is telling you very clearly, children, that same episode of the Gita is now repeating. Death is just ahead, and you must therefore break away from everyone else. Have yoga with me, the Supreme Soul alone, and your final thoughts will lead you to your destination, and you will come to my land. God sits in this body and says to his children, to you souls, sweet children, I have now come according to my eternal program. Destruction is just ahead. Therefore, have yoga with me, your father, and forget all other relatives. That is, extinguish all other lamps, Deepaks, and ignite the one Deepak, and I will liberate you from your sins and make you sit with me. God Himself is speaking through this body and explaining so easily. He says, you can have yoga and return home. Everyone has to return home. It is not that only those who are old will return. All the children will remain here. Look, when the bomb was dropped on Japan, young, old, animals and birds were all killed. Or was it just the old people who died? That was just a small rehearsal. Now many improvements are being made. You see that, do you not? The bombs are ready. History will definitely repeat. So remember me, God, and no one else, just as Meera only remembered one Girdhar, Krishna. She renounced the opinion of society and her clan. You have to remember me, God, in the same way. Renounce remembering your maternal and paternal uncles, etc. All of those bondages are of the Iron Age. Only by having yoga with me can you meet me. When you consider yourself to be a child and have yoga with Baba, you will then have that happiness. However, if you have any wrong type of yoga, you cannot have that happiness. Many come here and say that they cannot control their minds or that they cannot experience bliss. The Supreme Soul is the ocean of bliss, and so how could you experience bliss if you do not have yoga with Him? Everyone has received an intellect according to their past actions. What can God do about that? God is teaching everyone at the same time. Some study here and then begin to teach at the same time. Some are just confused in the first lesson, and so this too is a miracle of the intellect. In the same class, some claim a first number and others fail. Why? Because everything depends on your intellects. What can God do about that? If He were to give a sharp intellect to everyone, everyone would claim number one. When there are bad omens over someone, then, no matter how much medicine you give him, it would have no effect. Yet, when it is time for the omens to be removed, the illness would then be cured with very little medicine. So, when the time comes, the intellects of some will be touched by these points. At the moment, some do not listen, but as you progress further, they will begin to listen. We have to remain content with this. God's coming and going and His method of giving you knowledge are unique. Second Murli, Om Shanti. There mustn't even be the sound of a clock, because it is now our stage of retirement. That is, it is our stage of being beyond sound. we go beyond sound to the incorporeal world where souls reside. There are no words there. There is supreme silence there. So we are making effort to reach that stage of silence, and we therefore do not like sound. There is no sound in that original land, and we are therefore making effort to go into the stage of retirement, that is, the stage beyond sound. Retirement means to go to the land of nirvana, where the souls of myself, you, and the whole world reside. This corporeal world is the stage for us to play our parts. However, we go and reside there in the sweet silence home without parts. This corporeal play takes place under the element of sky, whereas the world of us souls is the great element which is a world very far away. Those who sit and have yoga with that world of silence do not like the sound of even a clock. This is known as being stable in your original religion of the self, that is, to remain bodiless. This means to remember the land of our Baba together with Baba, because our Baba is the resident of that faraway place. He comes from there into this foreign land. Why does he come to the foreign land? He comes to establish his kingdom, and he comes in an incognito form. His part is incognito. Just as your body is old, similarly the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, says, I too have to enter this old body to destroy this old world and to establish the new deity world. Those who come into the old home will also definitely have to take old bodies. How can there be new divine bodies here? So that one is in this one's old body, and he establishes the kingdom of Sri Krishna through this body. So whoever first comes to this one has a vision of Vaikuntha (paradise). You see the divine activities and dancing of Vaikuntha, that is, you have visions of Vishnu, because if you were to have a vision of the Supreme Soul, you would not be able to understand what that is, because no one knows the Father or that He is God. Although people worship Him, no one knows Him. They say that God is omnipresent and that everyone is God. No one knows the occupation of a Shivalingam, that is our Supreme Father who adopts 3 forms in order to carry out the 3 tasks of creation, sustenance, and destruction. He comes at this time and tells us his occupation. He says, those who want to become heirs to the kingdom of Vaikuntha should come to me and become my children. I will make them completely viceless and take them to my kingdom. He comes here to purify all the dirty souls. Even matter becomes pure through this. There the souls as well as the 5 elements are pure. That is the deity world, and so what can you say? At this time the philosophy of deityism has disappeared. no one knows that the deity world existed here. They believe that the deities used to reside somewhere up in the sky, but their images are here, their history is here, and so they must definitely have existed here. This world continues all the time. Annihilation never takes place. When destruction takes place, all souls go back, and the deity religion is established here. When you have grain, you don't eat all of it, you eat most of it, but keep some behind for sowing again. Where else would you get the seeds from? If annihilation were to take place, then all the grain would finish. Then from where would you get grain to sow for the next crop? So just as grains are eternal, so human beings are the same. So it is as though God saves some seeds and takes everyone back home, through which the world then grows. The Father also says, I destroy the innumerable religions and establish the one religion. He doesn't say that he brings about annihilation. This is the final birth of everyone, and no one will then take birth in the land of death. Everyone will return home, and a few seeds will be left, and they will gradually increase. Then there will be 330 million gods and goddesses by the end of the Silver Age. Then the other religions continue to come number-wise. They too continue to increase gradually. It is Almighty Baba who comes and tells you the secrets of this drama, and this is therefore called godly knowledge. Nowhere else will you get this knowledge. No matter how much you tour around, no one has this knowledge. It is only here at this time, when God is creating his deity genealogical tree, that you can receive this knowledge. God says, if you wish to come into my royal clan, then surrender everything to me. I will purify all and then return you to Vaikuntha. You know that Baba has come at this time, and that he will come again after a cycle. He will not come again and again. He says, children, I have come to make you clean and holy. Those who are viceless are said to be holy. Those who continue to drink and smoke cannot be called holy. Baba becomes the teacher and teaches you, and he becomes the father and looks after you. You receive double blessings, that is, blessings from that one, from the Guru and from the Father. You are receiving the inheritance from both. That Almighty Baba is carrying out your physical and subtle sustenance through this body, and he therefore says, surrender yourselves to this one. He will purify you with the nectar of knowledge and take you back. This is known as dying alive, but this is very sweet death, because you go into the lap of your true Father. He explains so well. How much more can he explain? Even then he finally says, man above, Madhyaj above. Acha? To the sweetest beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance and good morning from the Mother, the Father, Bap Dada. The spiritual father says Namaste to the spiritual children, and the spiritual children say Namaste to the spiritual father. Essence for Dhana. 1. Be bodiless and stabilize in your original religion. Remember Baba in Baba's home. Remain silent. 2. In order to enter a royal clan, surrender everything to the Father and become as pure as the Father. Blessing. May you be a Jnani and Yogi soul and use all the treasures you have been filled with by the Father and increase them. Bap Dada has filled all of you children with all treasures, and it is when you use those treasures at the right time that those treasures continue to increase. You can never say, I didn't want to do it, but it just happened. Jnani and Yogi souls who are full of all treasures first think and then act. According to the time, they are touched with something which they catch and put into a practical form. If you think even a second after doing something, you would not be called a Jnani soul. Slogan: even though there may be a difference in your natures and ideas, let there not be any difference in your love. Om Shanti.